Race friends, they're back together again. Live from Daytona Beach, Florida, it's Skratch with a K. And live from Las Vegas, it's Alan Michaels. Right here, right now, on the flagship station, the WCOBM TV network. It's on Pit Road Racing.
And looking good there. Good afternoon to you, everybody. 4 o'clock, top of the hour here. Looking great, man. We're going to have a great day out there. Alan Michaels right here in the WCOBM Control Studios. My partner, Skratch with a K. I'll tune him in on the satellite in just a couple of minutes here for you. Sitting in today, Diane is back at the office, clearing that sore throat up as she's on the blower right now, working with Jeff Motley and everybody at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, man. Got a great show lined up for you next Wednesday. Looking so forward to this, man. Corey LaJoie is going to be on the show. John Henry Nemechek. Jeff Motley will be here because the big show is coming to Las Vegas next weekend, March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And we've got truck racing on Friday. We got Xfinity on Saturday. We got the Cup races on Sunday. It's going to be a great weekend, a special big show coming up for you there. I want to welcome everybody aboard. I hope you had a great weekend out there, man. I don't know what we'll get to Skratch's views and about that, what happened with the racing down at Daytona. I mean, it finally got down to about a lap or so to go before they tore the hell out of the cars. But anyhow, on Pit Road Racing, we do it here each and every Wednesday afternoon here for you at the WCOBM studios. We're located in downtown Las Vegas at 450 Fremont Street, everybody, in the heart of downtown Las Vegas. Shows every day from 4 to 6 p.m., and we stream it from the WCOBM.TV network straight to Facebook channels, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter. We've got them all covered. Just look and search us up for On Pit Road Racing. And, of course, my buddy Skratch down there with his radio program, and we're simulcasting it down there, and they'll tell you all about that. Real quickly, show partners, the Gene Woods Racing Experience, 450 Fremont Street, right here, just on the other side of the studios, everybody, along with the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame. More information about Gene Woods and the go-kart racing, World Wide Web at gokartslasvegas.com. Woods Family Sandwiches, man, great place when you're in town, man. They deliver catering. They got it all for you. Some of the best products around fresh meats, cheeses, vegetables, everything. They do vegan stuff. They do vegetarian stuff. And if you want the Big Matic roast beef, they've got it too. World Wide Web at wfsandwiches.com. Hot Shoe Hall of Fame. That's what this program works for, man, is a great nonprofit charity here and all about the tennis shoes, and I'll show you those. There we go. We'll get into that in just a second. But if you'd like to have some more information about the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame, it's hotshoehof.com. Our friends at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, lvms.com. Don't forget, if you're still looking for some tickets, grab them up there, lvms.com. Camping, tours, everything you want to know about it, they've got it here. Our friends Jeremy Porter and everybody down at Atlanta Motorsports Park, hey, you can catch it up. It is the country club of motorsports. They've got condominiums you can stay there. They got go-kart racing. They got open wheel racing. Just a fantastic place. AtlantaMotorsports.com and our good friends at Red One Scooters. Want to thank them because when we're out and about and Diane needs a little help around the pits, we get our friends at RedOneScooters.com to help us out. And finally, Hammer and Harry's at 450 Fremont Street, man, a great place to go. Fun food parties, and of course, always you get service with a shot of ketchup, okay? Like I said, next week, man, we'll be on 2 full big hours. Man, going to kick it off with Nancy Matter down in Texas, NHRA. She's got a brand new top fuel car. We're going to talk to her. Then that second hour, we're going to preview Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Our special guest, Corey LaJoie, John Henry Nemechek, who had a great weekend in Daytona, along with Jeff Motley. They'll be coming along about it, okay? Hey, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, real easy. Just give us a ring at 702-803-0875, 702-803-0875, Monday through Friday on Pacific time, folks. Ask to speak to Diane. She handles all the booking to the guests of the show. She'll be more than happy to take good care of you. Or you can also drop us an email at onpitroadracing@gmail.com. Want to thank all the partners. Let's bring them on in, man, real quickly here. Oh, let me skip this over. I got to do one quick thing. Skratch, staying tight with me, and I'll be right with you, buddy. Hey, weather for the weekend is brought to you by our good friends at Woods Family Sandwiches. Once again, log on to them at wfsandwiches.com. Real quickly, weather down there in Hampton, Georgia. Not technically Atlanta, but Hampton, Georgia. All right. Friday, they're looking AM showers, about 30% chance. Daytime high, about 65 degrees. Nighttime low, about 39. For Saturday and Sunday for the Xfinity and Cup races, mostly sunny skies. Temperatures are going to be at a nice, cool nice warm, let's say it that way, nice warm 60 to 64 degrees, dropping off into about the low 40s for the nighttime. All right. So it should be some great racing weather down there this weekend. So we'll keep tabs up and get ready to go. Real quickly, before I get scratching, I want to remind you, man, here's a chance for your business or your company to join us. The Hot Shoe Hall of Fame is a 501c3 nonprofit, everybody. Right here are the shoes. They are called the Heart Shoes. It helps out needy men, women, and children for necessary good health and positive development out here. Man, we've been all over Las Vegas, been out to California. And here is a partnership here to be part of the show, just like you hear us say. We thank our partners. If you'd like to be part of this is really easy, okay? First of all, the show gets no money of this. The network gets no money of it. 100% of the profits go to buying these tennis shoes, okay? Two ways that you can participate in it. We have a $500 donation. You get 130-second TV spots and advertising on our social media. Or if you want to donate a $1,000 partnership, you get 230-second TV spots on this network, along with social media. And we'll also hand a 3-foot by 3-foot banner up here to you. All partnerships are totally tax deductible. If you need all the information and the paperwork, we can deliver that for you too. There are 10 partnerships on each one of them. They'll run completely through the next 36 weeks here at On Pit Road Racing and WCBM. The Hot Shoe Hall of Fame provides new shoes, the Heart Shoes, to needy men and women, children that are all necessary health, good health, and positive development. Okay, so we'll talk about that all the way around. Hey, let's go down to Florida, man. Daytona Beach. There he is, standing beside there, having a little breakfast. You having breakfast, buddy?
I survived, man. I survived the week out there in the rain and everything. I'm having a little breakfast. I'm having a little coffee. That's what I'm having.
Yeah, I know. That's a good thing. Hey, racing this weekend, we'll get all talking about it. Are you ready to go? You actually said that you got to send this to me for Friday's edition of the show. Send me the clip that you got of the big one. Skratch, you actually got a clip of the big one.
I did. I was in a great position for that, where we were located. So we've discussed plenty of times how many times I've been out to Daytona, and sometimes you just don't try to get it, whatever the case is. This is the first time I actually caught the big one. I caught the big one, Alan. I did the lap before, and it was so bright out on the track you couldn't really see the cars in it, and so I was like, man, I'm going to zoom this next lap in, and I zoomed my phone, and I was ready for him to come out of turn 3, where as soon as I could see him, and the zoom, as soon as I zoomed, I'm like, oh, this is going to work great, right? Sure enough, they come out of 3 and they start wiping out in the corner, and I caught the whole thing. It was awesome. And then afterwards I started taking some still pictures of it but man, hey, the response. Okay, when I send you this video, you're going to see the big one start and happen and ball up all these cars, and all these cars wreck. And then I follow them around just for like a second. And then by the time I come back the other direction towards 3, there is medical, there's records, there's everything out there. So I wanted to really shout out kudos on that big one, because I noticed, like I said, in my video, by the time I, show a few things and come back, they are on the track. They are there. So the speedy response by the crew there at Daytona International Speedway was amazing. But yeah, I caught the big one, man. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, we got to get that on the program. I mean, it was something to watch from home. I mean, racing with Daytona's road racing. And I mean, I sort of thought there'd be a bigger one before the last big one, to take it out. But, hey, listen, I found it actually pretty enjoying once they got here. One question before we get on. Sure. What I want to know, with all the rain, I mean, the track just had to be green as green. I mean, you were down there in the turn thing. There was no rubber, right? I mean, the rain just washed it all away.
Yeah, no, it was just asphalt. And even during like that big one, for example, like Daniel Suarez ended up nosed into the guardrail on the inside guardrail at turn 4, and he couldn't move at all. You could see him trying to, and he got out of the car frustrated because there really wasn't a lot wrong with his car at the time. And it just didn't. He just was stuck there in the mud. But yeah, no, that track. Matter of fact, you guys saw it. The 500. They didn't get to racing until about 40 to go, like they usually do. And then it's picked up from there. But that big one, that was That was a big one.
It tore up it tore up about 17, 18 cars, I think. I mean,
and I think more than that wrecked in it. To be honest with you, I think more than that wrecked in it. I think some just came out a little less scathed up than the others. But yeah, that was right in front of us. I got, like I said, I'll send you that video. I got a great video of it.
Well, we got, and for this particular reason, I don't have to ask for written consent and permission because you took the video.
No,
you got to watch it. These guys don't nail the copyright. Hey, real quickly, Skratch, just to give everybody up to date, F1 March 2nd as F1 kicks off its 2024 season in Bahrain. Okay, they'll make their second stop here in Las Vegas coming up on November 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. Coming back down towards your way, man. NHR returns back to action March 7th through the 10th. Trip down to Gainesville for the Gator Nationals. NHRA and 4-wide racing returns back here to Las Vegas April 12th, 13th, and 14th at the Strip at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. You can get tickets for that at lvms.com or log on to nhra.com. Just followed up about 3 days after that, IndyCar kicking it in too, man. They'll be down there at St. Petersburg. Time for the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Around the streets they go. And if you're looking for tickets for that, then just log on to IndyCar.com. World of Outlaws. Yeah, man, they sort of got the rain soaking to them like they did at Daytona there, but they're going to be back in action for you. The World of Outlaws NOS Energy Super Drink. March 3rd, coming up at Volusia Speedway Park. Again on the 4th, and then on March 8th and 9th, they hand off to Kendall Speedway Park, okay? NASCAR's back in action this weekend. Obviously, triple header down in Atlanta. And the ARCA Series will team up both with the East and the West. They'll make their first stops after this coming up March 8th at Phoenix. And that's a look at the National Series and where they're racing, man. Seems like it's all coming together pretty quick. If you know NASCAR kicked it up, F1's coming in next, and you guys got two big events coming down back into Florida. I mean, 3 events in basically 4 weeks' time for Florida with Daytona, then Gainesville, St. Petersburg too. So racing in Florida, my friend.
For sure. Plus, in another week, we're gonna have motorcycle racing here at Daytona, and then motocross. So, I mean, there's if you like stuff that goes fast, we're in the right spot.
Yeah, that's it, my friend. You know what? Real quickly here before I'm going to take us a quick break. I got some updates to do with motorcycling here. We'll talk, man, some great stuff. They had the USA versus the World Invitational Nationals here down in Bakersfield, California. That's the speedway stuff, Skratch, stuff that Gene used to ride. And Team America held out pretty good against some of the Europeans, man. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Alan Michaels down here in Las Vegas, Skratch with the K's down in Daytona. We're going to take us a quick break. When we come back, we'll get you talking racing and what's up. We've got all the news and information as On Pit Road Racing continues right here at the WCOBM.
Las Vegas, Nevada, where everything seems to move a little bit faster.
Like a lot faster. Like 200 miles an hour faster. It's more than a race. It's full throttle insanity. The drivers aren't the only ones on the joyride.
Family, friends, and unforgettable moments. I'm talking full throttle mayhem. I'm talking NASCAR in Vegas. What could go wrong?
Welcome to my world. Handicapped man down at a charity feed. Great spread this morning. God, it was horrible. But it made what I needed to happen. Then I had these people that stopped and said, "Hey, you want some shoes?" I said, "Yeah, I was going to need to get some anyway." So might as well. And if it really comes to fruition, help them buy more shoes so that we can help more people. Well, I'm not but you know what I mean. Hell, might as well. There's nothing wrong with helping someone.
Are you ready for the wildest ride on Fremont Street? The Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience. 450 Fremont Street, suite number 171 on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street. Open 7 days a week, noon until midnight. Strap yourself in, pull your safety belts tight, and feel the power and the speed at the Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience, downtown Las Vegas, Fremont Street, 450 Fremont Street, suite number 171, right on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street. What are you waiting for? Log on, get your tickets now. It's time to go racing at the Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience, 450 Fremont Street, downtown Las Vegas.
Looking good out there for you. Coming up Wednesday afternoon, Alan Michaels, Las Vegas. Skratch with a K sitting in for Diane today. She still got a little bit of that sore throat, Skratch.
No, we wish her the best. She just had a birthday too.
Yeah, man, she did. Yeah. She had a birthday. Yeah, she had that sore throat. I mean, it's just been a cold, wet rain up here, and I mean, it's just beat the heck out of people, man. So anyhow, she's been on the blower working with Motley. She's got Corey LaJoy lined up for us. John Hunter Nemechek. Nice. We actually was hoping to have John Hunter on the show today with us, but we've saved it. All that travel, rain, and everything else, everybody had to reschedule the schedule.
That would have been great too. I mean, he finished 7th in both races. He finished 7th. John Hunter Nemechek finished 7th both times Monday.
I was sort of impressed with him and Eric Jones, the quality of the equipment from the Toyota. Yeah. I mean, 7-time, just I don't know, man. He didn't.
They must have gave all the equipment to the other two cars because Jimmy Johnson pretty much rode around in the back all by himself. He wasn't even with the pack most of the time, from what I could tell. Every time he'd come around, he was by himself. That I noticed. That's hard for me to believe that he just had nothing. He had nothing.
Yeah, because the other two cars really performed pretty good. I mean, they really did.
He reminded me of Dave Marcus back in the day. I mean, the latter part of Dave. Yeah.
But I mean,
the latter part of Dave Marcus.
Those guys in Realtree and everything else. I mean, that's the advantage when the two car teams came in. Childress, used that as that second testing. Hey, real quickly, man, I got some race. Hey, listen, you said motorcycle racing is coming down to Daytona, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Get up there and watch the flat tracks and check out the Speedway, man. If you've never seen Speedway racing, Skratch, I'm telling you, it is the wildest thing. 500cc Jawa bikes, one gear, no brakes, running around at an 1/8 and a quarter mile flat track of dirt, man, and it's wide open. 5 laps of nothing but wide open, man. It is the wildest thing you'll ever see. I'm telling you.
Back when I was younger, I got to see a few motorcycle races, but it's hard for me to see them these days because I MC at Main Street Station on Main Street all throughout Bike Week, so I don't really get to partake in any of the outside fun of that.
Oh man, all right. Well, you're doing.
All right. I have fun. I have fun during Bike Week. It's okay. You don't have to feel
Gene
bad.
Was down there last year. He said it was wild and crazy. He said it was. I said, and I told him, I go, you understand what you're going to. I mean, you really understand that. Okay. Yeah. Hey, segment is brought to you by the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame, celebrating and preserving the memories of great motorcycle racers and the motorcycle industry icons past and the present. For more information about it, you can log on to the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame, which is the www.hotshoehof.com. Hey, Speedway motorcycle racing is back in action and this past weekend down in Bakersfield, California. Skratch, the USA versus the World International Individual thing was racing was there. American racer, I've seen this guy run before, man. This guy is something else. American racer Max Rummy starred as the United States scored a 61-52 victory over the rest of the world. Man, they were talking, it was all down at Kern County Raceway, Bakersfield, California. Rummy led from the change, 13 paid 15 points. 5 others scored on it. I mean, this guy just ate him up. He really, really did. International British champion Chris Harris was the star on the turf, 18 points from 5 races, including 2 6-point wins out there. So, I mean, it's good to see this kind of racing back. I've talked to Gene, and they lost their AMA affiliation years and years ago, and American racers, what it is that the Europeans are so tough in this sport that there are 4 or 5, 6 good guys from America, and the Europeans steal them. That's what they do. They steal them and take them over there. So, I mean, it is. But if you get a chance to go see it, it is just something wild. Now, back in the day when Gene was running it, the fuel was alcohol nitro methane mix.
Wow.
Okay. Now, and then you got to remember now, these motorcycles, Skratch, weigh 175 pounds total weight. They go 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds.
Oh, wow. I thought the fact that there was a speedway in Bakersfield, California, was the most shocking thing I was about to hear.
Yeah.
I've been to Bakersfield. It doesn't even seem big enough to have a speedway. Isn't that where the world's largest thermometer is as well?
Yeah, something like their Baker or
Yeah,
something like that in that area. Yeah, it is
somewhere over there.
It's up in the air. But I mean, it is something to see it. I mean, the people that come to see this, I mean, they're racing fans just like NASCAR and NHRA. They're having the burgers and the hot dogs and the beers and having a good time. And Gene took me down to Costa Mesa to see this, and he actually got me out on the middle of the track. And I did some video, and I was spinning around. I wasn't in a chair, and I was trying to spin around because these things fly. I mean, they absolutely just fly. And it's something because, you got the big bikes, the Harleys and the Indians and everything else. But, it's just really, really something to see. Hey, real quickly, events coming up for Speedway Motorcycle. Paris Raceway, got practice coming up on February 21st, 24th through the 25th. It's the Gumball Rally at Industry Hills. March 2nd, you're back practicing at Paris, back racing at Bakersfield on the 16th. Back for more practice, 2 rounds on the 20th at Paris, and then April 3rd, Bakersfield's running April 6th again. Then, after all the practice on April 20th, Paris will open up their season. May 10th, it's Fast Friday's opener. May 11th, it's the champion. It's the Patrick Hahn Spring Classic. And then Industry Hills opens up on May 25th. So there's all kinds of tracks out here on the West Coast, mostly California, and a lot of stuff back in upstate New York. And then, of course, Raleigh's got the big mile track out there. Monster Energy Series, man, back in action coming up on February 24th. Round number 7 heads on to Arlington, Texas. And then round number 8 will be down in Daytona Beach, starting off March 2nd, 2024. The 2024 season Progressive American Flat Track, it gets rolling in Daytona March 7th and 8th. And the segment is brought to you by our good friends at the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame, my friends. There you go, HOF.com. That's a look at motorcycle news, buddy.
Hey, there's going to be a lot of them in town here shortly, man. It's funny, too, because it seems like between race week and bike week is a lot shorter this year. I think they bumped bike week up like a week earlier. So now all of a sudden I don't get any time to rest. My back will just be feeling better from the races when it's time for me to go stand out there and MC at Main Street Station for 10 days straight. It's fun though. It's gonna be a good time. I would like to go see some motorcycle racing, but it's just not gonna happen for me.
If you get it, I was gonna say, if you get a chance to go. I mean, and of course the Supercross will be there, and they'll have the GP racing down there.
I really would love to go to is a Supercross.
The Supercross, yeah. Fun stuff.
I haven't been to one of those since I was a kid, and it was in the old Tampa Stadium back when they had the old stadium back there. I for the first time, I had to be right out of high school when I went to see that, but it was awesome.
I remember the old Tampa Stadium. I remember when you could go see the Buccaneers for like $10.
I remember when nobody was buying $10 tickets to go see the Bucks.
They give them to them for free, man. Beg you to come in, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, real quickly, man, to let you know, Tony Stewart's we talked about Tony's something else. I mean, Tony's still one of those guys getting up in his age, but he'll drive anything. And the testing sessions, I guess, have been running really well for Tony Stewart and Tony Stewart Racing. Obviously, we know that Leah's stepping out of the car this year. They want to work on a family. I don't think trying to work on a family and run 300 mile an hour is great for your body and great for the little one coming along. Okay,
probably not.
Yeah,
what newborn can say it's already gone 300 miles an hour? Though, to say.
Well, there you go. What was the odds on that? Here we are in Vegas. What would be the odds on that? But anyhow, Tony Stewart said that they made about 20 runs this past week. Man, he's been testing. Of course, he had a great year last year in his alcohol dragster. I think if they'd had a couple of more events, Tony would have caught up. He finished second out of the second. He just got caught in the points battle and just didn't have enough. But I really think he thinks that this is going to be a pretty good season. They got one more testing round coming up. He said he'd like to get about another 15 to 20 runs. He said he would feel comfortable that way heading into the Gator Nationals. So Tony Stewart stepping it up again, man. I mean, I said this last week. Watch the TV ratings on this one, Skratch. Watch the TV ratings on this, man. Especially when he starts, if he cracks in, if Tony comes out of the hole and has a little bit of luck on his side, and comes out of the hole hot, watch the TV ratings skyrocket, buddy.
Oh, for sure. I think that's great for Tony Stewart too. I've always been a fan of Tony Stewart because I'm a big fan of racers, as we
Right.
spoke the difference between racers and dad's money and this and that and the other thing. I'm a big fan of racers, and Tony Stewart is a racer and he's a champion, and he from NASCAR, stolen from Indy cars, and now he's up in the top. Man, it's amazing, right? I mean, just get back there, grab Robbie Gordon's another one I love too. Robbie Gordon, Tony Stewart, even though they had a little battle there for a minute, but I love all those guys, man. The racers, Kurt Busch racing Indy. I hated Kurt Busch before Kyle Busch. Growing to kind of respect Kurt Busch. Same thing with Dale Earnhardt, though.
Right.
Like I mentioned before, back then I was one of the ones that hated Dale Earnhardt. I say was one of the ones. I never say I hate Dale Earnhardt these days, man. He was the greatest thing for the sport. So. But these racers, man, you gotta love it, man. Tony Stewart, top fuel dragster. Come on, man, that's great.
And we got a guy coming on the show. Corey LaJoie is not some guy that just has been around. His dad, Randy, and his grandfather is in the Motorsports Hall of Fame up in New Hampshire. That East Coast area ran I believe two, if not three modified championships, U.S. modified East Coast championships. And Randy won two championships back when it was the old Busch Grand National Series, which is the Busch Series or the Xfinity now. So
he ran the Fina car back in the day. If you remember that Fina.
Yeah, I remember that car. But so LaJoie, you know what? And that's another one that had a darn good run in Daytona. A top 5 finish, I believe, for Corey LaJoie.
For sure. I had it right here, as a matter of fact. Fourth. He finished fourth.
Yeah. So
and you know what? If I got a funny story about that, real quick. So it's raining, all right, and the golf cart pulls up right by the tiki bar, like went to the back of it, like to the side, because we were back there because it was raining or whatever. And he pulls up for a minute. I don't know what the conversation was because it was just at the other end of the camp, and I was on this side. And I turned around, I looked, I was like, oh my god, because the golf cart had number 7 and Celsius on it, and of course I know who Corey LaJoie is. I was like, hey, I turned around to my girlfriend and a couple of people that were over at my side of the camp. And I said, hey, look, that's Corey LaJoie right there. And my girlfriend goes, that's Corey LaJoie? And I go, yeah. She goes, that's the guy that gave me the Celsius the other day in the golf cart. She was walking down the thing, and apparently he had stopped. And, she come over with a couple of these Celsius tall boys and was like, hey, look, I got a couple Celsius tall boys from a guy on a golf cart. I was walking. He's like, hey, you drink Celsius? She's like, oh, I love it. She's like, well, here, it's a couple. But she never knew. She didn't know it was Corey LaJoie. But when he came by like a day later or whatever, and happened to come through there, and I'm like, hey, that's Corey LaJoie. She was like, that's the guy that gave me the Celsius. I'm like, oh. But yeah, he had a great run. He finished fourth. So
if you tried that stuff, is any good?
Team looked good. Yeah, it's not bad. It's good. It's good. Right. I like it. Okay. I don't hate it. There's some stuff I've tried before I didn't like. But
hey, real quickly, IndyCar news brought to you by our good friends at Atlanta Motor Skratch. We got to get to this place. I want you to look this up on the internet. AtlantaMotorsportsPark.com. Condominiums, racetracks, go-kart, open wheel racing, cookout joints. They got it all.
That sounds like my kind of place. I'm telling you, yeah, we do. It sounds like my kind of place.
You know where it's at? It's in Dawsonville, Georgia, right across the street from Bill Elliott and Chase Elliott's shop, and their private runway is actually right across the street from this place. We got to get down there. I got to see this place. They got
a drift. You told me it was in Dawsonville. That's somewhere I would love to go.
They got a drift track down there, and what they use on the drift track, I think it's the Beamer like 610s or whatever, the little like 2-door white job. I mean, that's what's on the drift track is they drift Beamers there.
I have a friend of mine here that has a professional drift car. It's a Mustang, and every season he's getting it painted different. I liked what it looked like last season, but yeah, I have a friend of mine here that's a professional drifter.
Wow. Hey, real quickly,
we might have to get him on sometime.
Yeah, let's get him on a drift. I actually have had the Las Vegas Drifting Club on the show a couple of years ago. IndyCar news for you. Alex Palou, Scott Dixon, and Romain Grosjean will be two of the world's most progressive races of the year. Of course, down in Daytona, and then they're going to return back to action the 24 Hours of Le Mans. It's coming up June 15th and 16th. All three drivers are aiming for a spot in the field of the 108th Indianapolis 500, presented by Cambridge on Sunday, May 26th, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Two-time reigning series champion Palou and the six-time series champion Dixon will drive Chip Ganassi Racing, while former Formula One standout Grosjean will drive for Junkus Hollinger Racing, okay? Palou and Dixon will be behind the wheel of the two Ganassi cars entered for the 24-hour classic circuit. And the other one's going to be running that big Cadillac, man, and it'll be standouts with Eric Barber and Alex Lynn, man. So there you go, man. These guys are kicking butt. Also, real quickly, this past week before the IndyCar, they had a moment. Kyle Larson up in Indianapolis, making his another round. Felt real good about the car. Looking real well, he said. Wanted to get a little more time in. And, of course, NASCAR season was just kicking in as this. But the McLaren, the Aero McLaren Chevrolet, all part of it. So he's going to go for the double-double, and it looks good. And, of course, now the big test for him, Skratch, is out in traffic. Okay, so when you're practicing the car with 1-2 cars on the track, now you get out there with, 10 or 15 cars, and the air starts moving around.
Yeah,
it'll be a whole different game. Your thoughts about Kyle double-doubling it, man?
Man, try to beat him. I guess that's my thought on it.
Well,
race.
Kurt Busch tried it, and I think he was the one. I think he was the last one to try the double-double, and Kurt had a great run going to the Indy. You're talking
about Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson. But when Kurt did it, he had a great run at Indy, jumped on the cars, had to start late in the tail of the field, jumped down in to NASCAR, flew down to Charlotte, and had to actually start late in the field because he didn't make the drivers' meeting. And within the first 50 laps, Kurt was up to like in the top 10, and then finally the motor gave up on him. So, I mean, he didn't, that was no fault, but he was running good.
I'm a huge fan of the double-double as far as Indy goes and the Charlotte race. I was disappointed when they made it where it couldn't happen because of the time frame. I love the double-double. I think it's awesome. I remember being at Charlotte one time when Tony Stewart flew in the helicopter.
Right.
And it's neat, man. It's neat. That double-double, that's a lot of racing,
1,100 miles, man.
Yeah, and two different style cars. And to be able to do it and be competitive. I mean, Tony was competitive in both races when he did it. It's great. I love it. I love it. I'm not a huge Kyle Larson fan. I don't dislike him. I don't necessarily like him. I think he's a great driver. I think he's fantastic. I am very excited to see him run the double because I am a fan of running Indy and Charlotte.
Definitely like you said. I mean, this is a total two different monsters put together here, with Indy being that big, the big 2 mile, more flat track racing with, the big 4 corners, but then also you've got the pivots in the middle to where you're out of the corner, then you're in a little bit of a straightaway, then you're back into another corner, then back down a big back straightaway. So a different style of track, different thing, and then jumping to Charlotte. What is a monster of all. I actually had an opportunity one time to do, when they started the driving experience, I was living in North Carolina and they invited us down to do it. And I'm going to tell you, when they talk about the tunnel turn in turn 3 and how slick and how greasy that thing is, I'm telling you, it is slick and greasy, whether you run it in the day or night, it's still that way. So my point of it being from Indianapolis down to Charlotte, where you get the big high banks, a half mile off of the distance of it as far as the track size goes, but a whole different animal. And also from 225 mile an hour down to 179, 182. So I mean,
that's gonna feel like doing 35 to us. You know what I mean? When you go from 225 to, when you go from an Indy car to a Cup car, you gotta feel like all of a sudden you're doing from 70 to 35. I mean, would be my comparison. You know, I live out here at Potts Inlet and all the way down to Dunlot, and it's 35 miles an hour, and it drives me nuts when somebody wants to do 30. I'm like, man, we're going slow enough at 35, but
but it's got to be
different.
something. I mean, it's got to be something that the tension on your body's got to be different. I mean, you know,
everything, yeah,
everything's got to be just completely different from jumping from one series into another. And you just ran 500 miles at 220 mile an hour all day long down into a stock car that's got pitch corners, 30, 35 degrees, whatever it is at Charlotte. And then that's just,
I'm surprised Jimmy Johnson isn't trying to double, but maybe they don't want him back in Indy. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'm surprised I'm surprised he's not trying to do the double.
I don't know. I'll leave it alone. I've jabbed enough on Jimmy, and I know there's a lot of Jimmy fans out there and everything else.
There is. There is.
Well, everybody asked me what the whole thing why. That I said I got tired. This is why I got tired of hearing Jimmy complain about the NASCAR season was too long and all this and that. That he wanted to shorten it up. He thought at that time the press release said that he thought the only place that should have two races should be Talladega and Daytona. Everybody else should go back to one race. That's the way it is. Too much commitment time to this. Too much commitment time. Well, listen, you know what it is. I get it. I get it. You want to spend time with your family. You want to watch your kids grow up. But racers. This is what racers do. And, it just rubbed me the wrong way about the whole gig about the way that. Then he left NASCAR because he said he wanted to go to IndyCar racing because the schedule was shorter. Okay. Right. It is shorter. Well, that didn't work out too good for him, Skratch. Now he's back to NASCAR. Now, whether he's driving or not, if he's at the track every week, if he's an owner, and if he's at the track every week, he's still got.
I would think the position he's in now will take up more of his time than driving a NASCAR.
I would think so.
I would think he's getting more time taken up right now, but maybe a lot of that time might still be based at home, though. With his family. But I would definitely think that in his position now, he's taking up more time than he was the last full-time season he had in NASCAR.
Well, I mean, the testing stuff has all been pretty much raced away from the years. So, they have a couple of test sessions for tire testing, this and that throughout the year, but that's pretty much about it. Not like the old school days. So now it's pretty much down to racing. And yeah, there are sponsor commitments. And when, what are you going to do when you're asking somebody to write a check for 10, 15, 20, $30 million? They want to see your product. Not only they want to see performance on the track, but they want you at their stores. They want you to bring the show car. They want autograph sessions and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And I get it. But now he's in a position to where he's out of the driver thing, except 3 or 4 races that he's committed to do this year. But now he's in the office every day. He's got to be the one working with the sponsors. He's got to be the one working the deals, working the phones and the emails and this and that. He's still got to get meetings. I'm sure that they do the Zoom stuff and everything else, but he's still got to be putting in a lot of time from a driver to another. I totally agree with you. I think he would spend. If we get him on the show, that's what I want to ask him. That's a great question.
You got to be spending more time. Yeah, you got to be spending more time in the racing business today than you were when you were complaining. Got to be. I would think
it's got to be. Now you own a multi-million dollar. You are co-owner of a multi-million-dollar team that you have 2 full-time cars plus your part-timer. It's got to be we got to ask him that. If we get him on the show, we got to say, Jimmy, tell us what this. What
comparison? What's the time compared now versus when you were driving? As far as how much of your personal time is racing taking up today versus then?
Right.
I can't imagine it'd be less at all. It seems like it'd be more. Like you said about the commitments, but now you're. And again, I know that racers isn't just the Sunday job. You know what I mean? I know that, but at the same time, I would imagine the owner is a 7-day-a-week job, where the driver, although a 7-day-a-week job, is not. You're not always. You know what I mean? There's days off. You're in there, time off anyway. I don't know. It seems like Jimmy Johnson's like work mode all the time at this point. It seems like that's what it would be like.
I'll tell you what it'd be. It'd be interesting to talk to Jimmy Johnson's secretary or his or her his personal assistant, be it guy or a gal, whoever that handles him, you say, hey, could you show us his calendar book? I mean, that would be something to see. Jimmy here, Jimmy there, Jimmy here, Jimmy there, bing, 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 flight here, flight there, hotel, bing, 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 all around. Hey,
well,
real quick.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
I was going to say, I was going to say, you'll know if when you're trying to get him on here, if he goes, well, the schedule's really busy and we're not going to be able to get him on, and you'll already know he's working 10 times as hard as he was as a driver right now as an owner. Did you see him too, real quick, on pit road with his Richard Petty hat on with Richard Petty? They both had.
No, I didn't see that. I heard about that, but I didn't see it. No.
Yeah, I'm like, oh man, not only are you pushing Richard Petty out, now you're trying to look like him.
Going to take his hat? Yeah. That's
the disclaimer. Disclaimer, people, is I'm a stand-up comedian by profession. So if I say some stupid off-the-wall stuff, that's where it's coming from.
Well, that's fine. I mean, and I don't even want to go into that because I actually last year at the fall race interviewed. It's on the Facebook. I interviewed Richard Petty on the wall on pit lane, and I mean, I'll leave it alone. I'll leave it alone. I understand what they're doing. I understand the business part of it. But I'll leave it.
Richard Petty's a hell of a nice guy, though. Everybody I know that's ever, I mean, even myself. I mean, I even heard the other day, that if he's signing autographs for, what I mean, he will sign it until the last person is not at, what I mean, until the last person asking for one, he will sign autographs. And I got one years ago. I'll show it to you if we take a commercial break or something. I'll pull it down and show it to you. It's cool.
Speaking of that, we will do that. And real quickly, I want to get this in before we get to finish the rest of the show out today with NASCAR and all the updates from Daytona. Carlos Sainz is worried about his seat in Formula One in Ferrari. Carlos, you better start looking, buddy. You better start looking now. Okay, I'm telling you, because next year you got one more year at Ferrari, and after that, Lewis Hamilton's taking the seat. That's it. It's a done deal. It's a done official deal. He's going to run Mercedes. He's going to take the opt out. Ferrari's going to just pay him ungodly amount of money, and he's going to go to Ferrari in 2025. That's just all there is.
You better listen up, Carlos, because Alan knows what he's talking about.
I'm just telling you, it's going to happen. This has been a thing waiting, and a really good article was on F1.com about how he really has really wanted to be with Ferrari all these years. I mean, he got 9 years with Mercedes, 7 championships. I mean, not a bad career, but he's really wanted to drive a Ferrari in 2025. It will happen, and I think it's going to revamp his career. I think he's going to be making a serious run at all the Schumacher stuff. I'm telling you. I'm just telling you that. So, Carlos, like you said,
excited to see what happens.
Get the resume updated, buddy.
Yeah, update the resume.
One more year at Ferrari, and you're on your way. Well, maybe what you ought to do is look over at Mercedes, babe. Maybe Mercedes will take him. You know what I mean? There you go.
I'm sure somebody's going to give him a job, right?
Somebody's going to, because he's a hell of a good racer. But
Jimmy Johnson could put him in that 84. He'd probably do better than that.
Oh my God, I'm going to bring him over. Hey, we're going to take us a quick break. Alan in Las Vegas, Skratch with a K down Daytona Beach, man, on Pit Road Racing Wednesday edition. We'll take a quick break, pay some bills. We come back, we'll talk some NASCAR from Daytona and everything else we got to do. You're watching On Pit Road Racing live from Las Vegas, everybody. Back in 2 minutes.
Jerry B. here up in Sacramento, Union Gospel Mission, giving out some shoes to the homeless. Here, a lot of smiling faces. We got one deal. We give you a pair of shoes. You got to give us a smirk and a photo. And this is the mission of the Hot Shoe Hall of Fame, which is a non-profit organization based out of Las Vegas, started by Gene Woods. We're trying to do good things and fill little holes in people's lives the best we can. And today we're up in Sacramento, just doing the best we can. Thanks for supporting us.
Are you ready for the wildest ride on Fremont Street? The Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience. 450 Fremont Street, suite number 171 on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street. Open 7 days a week, noon until midnight. Strap yourself in, pull your safety belts tight, and feel the power and the speed at the Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience, downtown Las Vegas, Fremont Street, 450 Fremont Street, suite number 171, right on the corner of Las Vegas Boulevard and Fremont Street. What are you waiting for? Log on, get your tickets now. It's time to go racing at the Gene Woods Racing Indoor Go-Kart Track Experience, 450 Fremont Street, downtown Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, Nevada, where everything seems to move a little bit faster.
Like a lot faster. Like 200 miles an hour faster. It's more than a race. It's full throttle insanity. The drivers aren't the only ones on a joyride.
Family, friends, and unforgettable moments. I'm talking full throttle mayhem. I'm talking NASCAR in Vegas. What could go wrong?
Put it down and go for it. Never know what's going to happen. Maybe Kyle and Bubba get into it again, man.
Never know.
Never know. Never know out here, man.
Hey, real quick, I dug it out so you know. There's my Richard Petty autograph right there.
Oh, that's cool.
You can see he's on crutches, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you the story real quick. I don't.
Right.
It was in the 90s. It was early 90s, 90, 91. I don't remember what crash that was, that he broke his leg or whatever. It was on crutches. But that picture came out of the Daytona Beach News Journal the morning that I went to go get the autograph. So he was signing in what was one of our 3 malls we had here at one time, but he was signing in the mall, and I was like, man, you know what? I'm gonna go get Richard Petty's autograph. So I went down there, and I didn't know when I was gonna get autographed. I grabbed the news journal. I was like, oh, this would be a great picture. He's on crutches, right? So it's always gonna tell that time, because he's here in Daytona on crutches. And so I went and I stood in line to get Richard Petty's autograph, and I was the very last one that got it. And you know what? I had just mentioned that, he'd signed to the last one. He just couldn't. There was 10 people in front of me. He's like, they just kept telling him, man, you got to go. You got to go. We got to go. We got to go. And he kept signing, and so probably 10 people deep, I start catching that they're trying to get him to go, right? And I was the very last one to get his autograph that day. And I got it on this picture I cut out from the Daytona Beach News Journal. Richard Petty right there on crutches. He drove that day.
Real quickly, we were at Las Vegas. We were in Las Vegas about 4 or 5 years ago. And we were running, we had interviews to do. We had to jump from the pits. The way they got it set up here is, the circle or the neon garage is where the Cup guys are. Then they have 2 annex wings to where the Xfinity and the trucks pit had. Well, we had to get over to do, in fact, we were on our way over to go talk. I think it was Riley Herbst that we were on our way to go talk to between the Cup garage and the Xfinity garage. And we're walking, Diane and I are going down. She's in her wheelchair. And all of a sudden I look ahead of us, and there he is. Tall, thin, dark-headed guy, cowboy hat, and the whole 9 yards. It's Richard Petty. Yeah. And no one is with him. Not a handler, not his PR guy, not anybody. He's by himself. And the real story, the quickly as he walks up and he sees Diane, he looks in, he goes, little lady, you're not going to try to qualify that thing today. And Diane's in her wheelchair. And she said, no, sir, Mr. Petty. And he gave us a word or two right there, and he signed Diane's chair and took a photo with her. But I mean, and then I interviewed him last year out here, but just a true mark of he is NASCAR.
Absolutely.
He is NASCAR.
Absolutely. He is a great guy. That's, like I said, that's my personal experience with him right there that I just told you about. And, I wasn't, it's the, early 90s. Richard is well past his prime.
Right.
But he's the king, he's the king. And I just remember, I don't usually just jump up and go, hey, so-and-so is going to be it. So, over here, I got to run over there and get an autograph. A lot of my autographs come by fluke, stuff like that, or like when I go to Charlotte, because drivers are very accessible at Charlotte. So when I would go to Charlotte, I would get a bunch of autographs and stuff there. I think I told you a story one time, though, about how Darrell Waltrip just looked me right in my eye and then turned around and walked off. I think I told you that story like years ago. That was at Charlotte. He was signing everybody's stuff, and I'm like, hey, you got me. And he just looked at me and walked off. I was like, Okay.
Guess
One of
there
the other
wasn't-
reasons. One of the other reasons why I don't like him.
I guess he had to boogity, man.
He did. That's stupid.
All right. Hey,
You
let's
know.
talk. We got about 15 minutes left. Let's talk a little bit about Daytona. You were down in the segments
Yeah.
brought to you by Las Vegas Motor Speedway, LVMS.com. Tickets are ready. All ready to go, man. March 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. You got it, man. You got the trucks going to be here. Then you got the Xfinity on Saturday. Sunday, the Benzo 400 presented by Jiffy Lube. I mean, the series opener down in Daytona for Fresh from Florida, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, man, to put it all up to, and it was Nick Sanchez, man, picking up the big win. Corey Helm, Rock Ruth, Brett Holmes, our buddy Spencer Boyd. Did you see this, Skratch? Spencer Boyd, top 5, man. Top 5 for the Boyd man.
Hey, that is great for Spencer Boyd. That is great. He I noticed during the race, he was running a little bit mid-pack there for a little while, and then I mean, the trucks are usually the best. And honestly, the trucks and the ARCA race seemed very similar in the fact that they didn't race much. They raced a little, and then and then there was a caution, and they'd race a little bit, and there was a caution. And when I say a little bit, I don't mean like a lot at all. But yeah, Spencer Boyd, man, great for him. That's one of the things I wanted to see during Speed Weeks. What is Spencer Boyd going to do in the trucks that he bought? Now that they own a team and do that. And man, that's a hell of a start for Spencer. So I'm excited for him for sure.
Got some good equipment from GMS. Obviously, Maury Gallagher and everybody moving over to the Legacy Motor Group. And of course, he dissolved or disbanded his truck organization, and Spencer bought it. And the big thing that Spencer picked up, like him or not, man, he's got Jeff Hammond on board, and Jeff Hammond knows the business, man. And I'm going to tell you, I think you're going to see major improvement. Real quickly, Sanchez is locked in for the title run and points right now. Tyler Acom, Kristen Eckes, Brett Holmes, Matt Crafton, Corey Helm, Ty Majeski, Rock Caruth, Spencer Boyd, and Bailey Curry all round up your top 10. And of course, they've got it all separated. Who's behind, 10 points this, 20 points that. I'm not even worried about that at that time. His first race out of the year. Our good friend Skratch Bob Baracus has got an update. Chris Hacker, who raced in the Truck Series and Xfinity last year, was involved in a serious accident on the way to Daytona, man. Update of this. Oh, my goodness gracious, man. The kid's alive. There's pictures of him up on Facebook, but I mean, this kid really, it wasn't a racing accident. It was just, an accident off property. But anyhow, multiple fractures to his spine, T1, T2, T3, and the C7 found during the MRI. He had a ruptured spleen that had to be removed, a collapsed lung, internal bleeding, a lacerated kidney, and a lacerated gland. Man, we wish him a happy, healthy, speedy recovery, man. I mean, and if you look on Facebook and pretty much everybody's got his name is Chris Hacker, young kid. We interviewed him out here last year, and a really nice guy, man. That's. I'd hate to think, man. You got lacerated this, lacerated that, man. We got to send him. We got to send him a speedy recovery, buddy.
Oh yeah, man. It sounds like a hell of a crash right there. That was on the way to Daytona, you're saying?
Yeah, that was on the way to Daytona. Wasn't at the speedway. He wasn't involved on a wreck on the track. He was on his way in an accident.
If he was on a wreck on the track, he'd probably been better off. Sounds like to me, because those cars are a hell of a lot safer than what we're driving out here.
Trucks are back in action. Hot Atlanta for you this weekend, man. The FR8208 Atlanta Motor Speedway, Saturday, February 28th, 2 p.m. Green flag at 2:15. Catch the race on FS1, MRN, and Sirius XM radio, man. Did you catch any of the Xfinity race? I know you were there. Did you stay around for the Xfinity?
I did. I stayed till the end. My friends at the Tiki Bar all left. I stayed. A couple friends of mine stayed, and my girl stayed. The four of us sat there and watched it. Yeah, I caught it. I thought it was pretty good. Some of the things that I wanted to see in it all went the other way, for the most part. Like Frankie Muniz, I wanted to see what he was going to do. I'm not sure that the Joey Gase racing team I'm not sure about their equipment. As far as that goes. I mean, I know Frankie could drive. He had 11 top 10 finishes in ARCA and 1 top 5. Right. I know he could drive. He got that opportunity because he could drive. He got this opportunity because he could drive ARCA cars for the most part. I don't know about the equipment, but, he did get as high as 13th at one point and finished 33rd. So that's not great, is it?
No, not too great.
So we'll see. We'll see what he does with his limited opportunity. I mean, he's getting more opportunity, but it's limited too. It's part time. So we'll see what he does. In Daytona, man, Daytona's tricky. As the other person that I wanted to see how she did said, because she said that she's had a bad relationship with Daytona, which just goes to tell you that Daytona is tricky. And Haley Deegan, she wrecked on lap 23.
Right.
And because she got into Daniel Suarez and she just wasn't sure what she could do. She said too that she wasn't, she's not 100% sure what to do yet, whether the best thing is to lay back, whether the best thing is to jump on the gas and race at Daytona. And she thought she was good riding around there for a little bit. That's what she wanted to do. She wanted to ride around a little bit back there and see what was going on and all that other stuff. And unfortunately, that's where the crash happened that took her out, so you can't, you just don't never know, when or where it's going to happen. So she finished, where'd she finish? She finished in 37th place. And that wreck happened on lap 23, so
Just a tough day for her.
Yeah, you probably know this, that her debut was in the Xfinity Series was actually in Las Vegas, where she finished 13th, which was the best that a female driver has ever debuted. But
she doubled it. Yeah, she doubled that weekend. She did the trucks and she did the Xfinity that weekend.
Right. But the female that really had a little headlines there was Natalie Decker in the 36. She finished 18th, but she led 7 laps. I guess their pit window was a little bit different, so she stayed out. They stayed out. Her and 2 other cars stayed out for a while, and she led 7 laps herself in that race. So Natalie Decker looks like she might have something going on too, something that maybe we should all pay attention to in the future. And our local guy, Daniel Dye, he was in the number 10. He's from right here, and he was the last car to lead lap. He finished 27th, and he was running pretty decent too there. But I'll tell you right now, who I thought really was going to win that darn race the whole time? Riley Herbst.
Yeah. Riley was, man, he was up there. He was up. That's why I was following.
He got that pass-through penalty.
Yep.
And he not got that pass-through penalty. I think he could have won the race.
Well, there were 14 leaders with 19 lead changes and 9 cautions, but it was RCR's Austin Hill picking up the win. Sheldon Creed. Hey, we talked about this earlier. Jordan Anderson. Remember we talked about Jordan Anderson a couple of weeks ago. I remember meeting Jordan when he didn't have the big haulers. He didn't have all that. He brought his car in an old, brought his truck. He was running a truck back then and brought it in just a good old hauler, trailer, man. And, toted a couple of boxes of tools and had enough money to grab some fuel and tires. And that was about it. But Jordan Anderson, top 3. Parker Reslev, Chandler Smith rounding out the top 5. Looking good. And, of course, they'll all be back in action coming up this weekend for the King of Tough 250. You can catch it on Saturday, September 24th. All right, Green Flag 215. And then, of course, the Cup guys are going to be racing on Sunday, the Amber Health. You can catch all that racing, man, PRN, Sirius, and XM Radio out there. Well, real quickly, before I let you get to everything that happened down in New Smyrna this last weekend, I just got this off the wire. NASCAR explains the ending of the Daytona 500. It said when Ross Chastain's bold move up the middle resulted in he and Austin Cindric spitting in the infield on the final lap of the Daytona 500, that was just to begin. NASCAR waited a moment as Cindric's car slid back up the track. NASCAR then decided to throw the caution. Per NASCAR rules, a caution flag on the final lap means the field is frozen and the race is over. Alex Bowman obviously picking up the win, but who pushed Chastain's fateful charge? The momentum all got caught up in anyhow. And according to Mike Ford, managing director of racing communications for NASCAR, they posted up, I saw this online, they posted aerial photos of this thing, okay, to when it actually did. I think they got it from the blimp is where they got the photo from. But he says that, in the area photo that you can also see the number 2 car coming back up the racetrack. That's why we called for the yellow. We were disappointed. We wanted the race to end on green, but people are going just totally nuts because not only are they looking at that photo that NASCAR put up, but there's other people that got other shots of this whole thing. They said that the green flag wasn't, the yellow didn't pop, this, that, and everything, but the fans are going just totally nuts. Comment about it?
Yeah, I thought it sucked. myself.
Okay.
And I think NASCAR got it wrong.
Okay.
And that race should have finished under the green, white checkered. Now, am I saying that because I'm saying that because I believe that, but I also Alex Bowman caused the big one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then won.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. I mean, William Byron, my bad, not Alex
Yeah,
Bowman.
William Byron. Yeah.
You know what? I get those two mixed up. I don't know why. I have no idea. William Byron. My bad. William Byron. He caused the big one.
Well,
And then he won. And then he won based on this situation here. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Well, they are all happy flying on
Ross
the jetpack.
Chastain, he had a great shot at winning.
Yeah.
He had a great shot at winning.
Noah finished. I think Noah finished up in the. I think Noah finished up in the top 10. If I'm not mistaken, I think he was finishing up in the top 10. Actually, it was Bowman finished second. Christopher Bell, Corey LaJoy, Bubba Wallace, AJ Allmendinger, John Hunter Nemechek, Eric Jones, Noah, and Chase Briscoe. All right.
Yep.
Pole setter Joey Leo led several times. Real quickly, Legacy Motor Group announced this past stream about the longtime Chevrolet partnership moving to Toyota. Now, I didn't know this. Did you know that Legacy turned down technical alliance help from Joe Gibbs Racing? They said no, they're going to do it on their own. Did you know that?
No, I guess I didn't. I wanted to say I heard something, but I'm going to go with no. No, I don't.
I did not know that they had approached. That they'd either approached or been approached from Joe Good about the Alliance Toyota, maybe trying to put them all together. But apparently Legacy is no, they're going to run the Toyota. They're going to run their Toyota program the way they're going to go it. Hey,
we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes.
You got information. We got about 5 minutes left. You got information about New Smyrna Raceway, because we always like to feature local tracks here, and New Smyrna Speedway. Skratch, that's your stomping ground. I've been over there several times. A great little racetrack over there. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I love it, man. New Smyrna is a great speedway. I've raced there myself. My stepdad's raced there. It's a good track. You want to go see some asphalt racing, you definitely go to New Smyrna Speedway, and it's one of the NASCAR family tracks as well. So there's that. The classes they had 8 nights of the World Series of asphalt. And the last night was Friday night. They had the Pro Late models. They had 15 entries in the Pro Late models, 25 entries in the Tour Modified, 11 entries in the LKQ Super Stocks, 21 entries in the Ashley Holmes Jack's Trucks, the 14 entries in the Bomber B class, and then the Florida Southern Ground Pounders had 14 entries. So it looked like the Pro Late model was taken by Charlotte, North Carolina's George Phillips. He had started 4th and won that race. The Tour Modified was won by Northampton, PA's Matt Hirschman. He started 6th in that race and won it. And then we get down here to the LKQ Super Stocks, won by Lake Helen's Blake Clouser. He was in the number 5. And our very own here from New Smyrna Beach, George Spears, he finished 2nd in that race. The Ashley Holmes Jack's Trucks was won by Jeffrey White from Eustis, Florida. He started 2nd and finished 1st, so he didn't have too far to go to win. And let's see, Bomber B, Palm Bay, Florida, Zach Curtis. He started 4th and he finished 1st. And then let's see what else we got here. The Florida Southern Ground Pounders is the final one. And Todd Smith, it doesn't say where he's from. Todd Smith, he started 10th. And he finished 1st. And the pole sitter, Steve Burnside from New Smyrna Beach, finished 2nd. So the pole sitter finished 2nd, and the winner came all the way from 10th in the Florida Southern Ground Pounders. It sounds like they had a pretty good show going on there at New Smyrna Speedway. That's the track I go to most. I do like Volusia Speedway Park and the dirt track out there too. So if I want to get dirty while I'm watching the race, I like to go out there and watch some great dirt racing. But New Smyrna is a track I like to go to a lot. I want to actually build me one of those 4-cylinders. Maybe we'll stick On Pit Road Racing on the hood.
Yeah, the Nutchuck Entertainment, Gene, and then we'll just slap them on there.
We'll cover it. We'll cover it with stuff. But yeah, I've been thinking about it. Every time I go out there and I watch the 4-cylinders run, I get like,
that bite and that itch comes to you. That's for sure.
It does. It really does. I want to build one and just play around with it, man.
Going to be talking to some good friends up in North Carolina. I've reached out to folks at Bowman Gray over at Hickory and a couple of the speedways. So we'll be talking to some of those local racers. And I always want to remind everybody that if you'd like to be on the program with us, it's real easy. We have a part of it's called Racing Around the Country. It is part of this program. And it's not with the national guys, whether NASCAR, NHRA, whatever. It's for local racers, made for you guys out there that are busting your rears in the garages, man, working on tight budgets, getting that race car to Friday, Saturday nights, wherever your main events are at. And we'd love to have you come on and tell your story. We've got Nancy Matter coming up next week. Young lady out of Texas, and she's been drag racing all these years. She's got a big announcement. Apparently, she's got herself lined up with an NHRA car and a Top Fuel. All right, so she's going to be breaking loose with this. So Nancy's cut her teeth along the way, and now is making her way up to the big series. So if you're interested in being a guest of On Pit Road Racing and the Racing Around the Country segment, reach out to Diane Fox at 702-803-0875. That's 702-803-0875. Please, folks, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 Pacific time out there. Okay, so like 9 o'clock you guys time on the East Coast to 6 a.m. in the morning here. So wait till afternoon to give them a
so
shout.
my people don't be calling at 6 o'clock in the morning is what we're trying to tell you.
Well, yeah, because most likely Diane set the phone up and it's going to go to voicemail. But you can do that. We can leave a message either which way, or you can just simply drop us an email at onpitroadracing@gmail.com. So that's it. Well, what do you think, man? Out of all the racing, let's start with the trucks. On a good race, out of 1 to 5, what you score it at?
Who?
1 being the worst, 5 being the best.
I'm unfortunately have to give this one like a 7.5. How about that?
Okay, so we're gonna go to.
I want to give it an 8, but I'm not going. It was about. I don't want to give it a 7. It was. I just caution, wreck. That's all. That's why. I mean, I'm sure the racing when it was racing was good, but you're talking about from green flag to checker. I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
Okay, let's move on to the Xfinity. What you think, man? So many times you've been down at Daytona. What do you think about the Xfinity race? Good race, bad race, in the middle? What do you thought? You were there live.
I think they were. I think they were the best race of the week. Myself.
Okay.
I do. I think they raced. I think they, maybe it was because they were the last race of the week and they were like, man, we need ready to get the hell out of here. I don't know if that's what it was or what, but they seemed to put on the best race. I'm gonna give them a 9.
Okay. There you go. And finally, running the Daytona 500. Good, bad, in the middle.
They were, I guess they always parade around for a long time. I'm gonna have to, I'll give them an 8-2. I'll give the ending a 1. I'll give the race an 8 and the ending a 1.
All right. I can live.
And for the record, whatever that was that Jason Allgaier was smelling over there in turn 3, I don't think was me. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't. Whatever that was.
That's what you listen. There was some rumors flying around there that he was smelling cannabis products coming out of turn 3. What were you all doing there?
Cannabis products.
Oh, you guys met up with the people from 3 Chai.
Yeah, I was hanging out with Kyle Busch. No. I didn't think it was me. I was, but
Okay.
There is big reports. It's hard to tell.
There is big reports out that somebody down in turn, if he was really smelling people smoking cannabis down in turn 3, running 180 mile an hour, man, I mean, that had to been a cloud down there.
Even under the, I think he smelt it under the caution. He radioed in under caution that he could smell it down there. And I'm like, I'm like, wow, like, come on. Did he really?
All right.
Maybe.
Hey,
there was a lot of it.
I'm not knocking anybody's choices. I'm not knocking. I said this last week on the program that Kyle Busch does have a cannabis and herbal company sponsoring him. That 3 Chai company does a lot with the pain. It's medical and stuff. So I would rather see
amazing things used correctly. It does.
I would rather see people use that and get on all these opioids and all the other crap that's out there. I agree with you 100%. That's it. Hey, listen, my friend, we got you back on this Friday 30-minute. We'll get everybody set up for Hot Atlanta this weekend. Technically the fastest track on the NASCAR circuit, man, where they average 175 mile an hour all the way around this bad boy. So we'll get them all set up here. You ready to go, my friend?
Man. I am ready.
Real quickly before I call John, where can they find the Skratch in the network and everything down there?
Man, they can find everything they need to know about me at nutshackentertainment.com or comedyfromskratch.com. Everything, all my social media, all that stuff is right on there. So just go to comedyfromskratch.com. Make sure you spell scratch, with a K. Skratch.
There you go.
With a K. You'll find me. You'll find me whatever. Contact me. Hit me up. Tell me hello. I need friends. I'm lonely.
All right. Let's do it. All right.
Thanks for joining us for On Pit Road Racing. Follow us on our website, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at On Pit Road Racing. On Pit Road Racing is written and produced by WCOBN TV. I'm John the Announcer for On Pit Road Racing.